Yeah, I think one of the unfortunate things sometimes in our society, and it happens, I think, fairly early on. I always say that most people are far more creative in different ways than they even know. But what happens sometimes early on is before they get a chance to really test it out, somebody comes along and says, "Well, that's not very good. That's a really lousy painting," or or you couldn't sing a note, or whatever. And so we have a kind of a cruel culture sometimes that rather than encouraging people to just explore, and I do think that most people, to one extent or another, maybe you're not going to be a Rembrandt, maybe you're not going to be an Elton John, but most people have some talent to do something in music, writing, painting, whatever, sculpting, so.
Agree. And sometimes we're even our own worst critic. You know, I spent probably 30, 35 years thinking, I can't paint. And that was because of a school situation where I felt like my work was not very good. It certainly wasn't, you know, I don't even remember what the grade was, to be honest. But I just remember thinking, nope, it wasn't very good. I'm not cut out to paint. And that was the last I gave any thought to that.
Well, you
And
need to fight against those voices, even the inner voices, and come back and try it again.
well, exactly.
This may be a good point for me to actually, mention here.
Yes.
The Poetry Without Borders book, I'll hold up here. People can kind of look at the picture that's on the front there, and
It's a
I'll
great
also
picture.
hold up the title page for Tales This Side of the Elysian Fields. Uh, Both of those, the covers, are actually done by a friend of mine who, again, in post retirement, she was actually a counseling therapist, and but she retired and she decided she'd take up painting, and so she took a few lessons, and it was like, okay, how far will this go? She has become an amazing painter, and we're talking only over the last 4 years. Good enough that, when this last poetry book I was putting it out, I said, I need a cover for this. What do you got? And so she showed me this particular painting. I said, wow, that just fits the theme of what I'm aiming at in this book. So, and she continues to impress me. I've seen more recent things again, and it's so we all have talents that are, maybe I should take up painting here in the next while as well.
Exactly. The thing is just to explore it and not necessarily rely on the past. There's that saying the past doesn't equal the future, and it's so true when it comes to creativity.
That's true, and if you enjoy doing it, you don't want to set yourself the goal of, as I said, yeah, overnight you're going to become Rembrandt. Maybe you never will be, but if you enjoy doing it, go out and do it. And my experience is that people who enjoy doing something usually they do get better and better at it
No,
because
exactly.
that spirit of enjoyment enters into it.
Mhm. And I think too, perhaps the caliber of the one instructing you. Um, in my case, you have a man who may or may not have been burned out, and he's teaching a class full of kids who may or may not care. And that's certainly going to affect the way that perhaps someone who maybe isn't Rembrandt, isn't super, super talented, just naturally, but perhaps there's something there that could be. I discovered later in life by going to a party a friend gave where we did get some very good instruction that, all right, I can paint. And yes, I was painting the same pictures everyone else, but then I went off on my own tangent and added things that no one else thought to add. So that created in me the desire to move forward and explore painting. And I am never going to be able to sell my art, but I certainly enjoy doing it.
If you enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, positivity is infectious. So if you're around positive people who are giving you encouragement, who knows, the sky's the limit.